Greetings, YouTube. Happy Saturday. You know, it's easy for me to forget because I have been playing this game for so long that so many people who watch my YouTube channel and really any MCOC YouTube channel are just starting out. They're not people who have this 5-star rank 5 blade. They might only have one 3-star champ, and that 3-star might be like a Rocket Raccoon. So I get messages, especially in the Line app, every week asking me specific questions as to who they should bring into Alliance Quest because they're finally in their first Alliance Quest experience. And so what I want to do today is answer at least 5 of the same or a similar of the same question that I've received in the last 3 to 4 days about if you're just starting out, especially, who are the non-God tier champs to bring in Alliance Quest that will do you a great amount of help without sacrificing units or items. And for a lot of players, this is going to be map 1, map 2, and map 3. Because you're not in Alliance to play map 4 and certainly not map 5 or map 6. And don't worry about those maps for a while because you've got months, if not years, to worry about them. Okay, so as a basic advice, I'm always going to have to start with the man, the myth, the legend, the OG Iron Man. Now, Iron Man does not hit that great, right? But his Special 3 does a good amount of damage. I love using Iron Man's Special 3. His Special 2, pretty decent as well. I never used the Special 1. And Iron Man is one of the first champions I got in the game, so maybe you're watching this and you're like, hey, I've got an Iron Man. And it's pretty exciting that it looks like, for all intensive purposes, that the schematics of the new Iron Man is going to be the closest we have to a God tier Iron Man. But the only way you can get him is by spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, on Grandmaster featured crystals, which so many people don't even have the opportunity to buy because you're not uncollected. So the OG Iron Man, especially when awakened to trigger this arc overload, will provide you enough damage to beat most opponents, and yet when you take hits, because you're not going to be playing perfectly, you're just starting out in the game, you're going to be able to get a lot of health back, even just at something like level 20 of your signature level, and that's going to allow you to save so many revives and potions. And this really goes the same because 1A and 1B, one of my big complaints, I'm going to do a video at some point about just like the 5 champions that shouldn't be in this game. I don't know why we have an Iron Man and a superior Iron Man with the exact same animations. It's just so lazy. But you can see my superior Iron Man, he's rank 5. I actually ranked him up thinking I would use him in Alliance Quest, and ironically I did not. But if you are starting out and you get a superior Iron Man, especially awakened, you are going to be, just like the other Iron Man, in business to save revives and potions and certainly units. And that's what you want to do. You want to win your fights, and you don't want to have to use items or certainly those very, very precious units. So Iron Man and Superior Iron Man, 2 non-God tier champs that you should use to really help you in Alliance Quest. Now the next one, again, is kind of a two-parter. I think that Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel are 2 of the most underappreciated champs in the game. Miss Marvel was my MVP for so long when I started playing. She was like my 3rd duplicated 4-star. And I didn't realize just how much of a truck she was when she hit until I got her awakened. Because her attack is increased by up to 1,000 at rank 5 based on stored power. And she is suicide mastery friendly because she is poison immune. And so is Captain Marvel. So if I'm fighting as one of them, I just do combos, and I don't do any specials, and I build up her power to her Special 3, and then I wait to use her Special 3 until the opponent has, about 20% or less health, because then guess what? You can have Suicide Masteries on, you can lose no health because of the poison immunity, and the Special 3 will kill your opponent so you don't take any recoil damage. Just a fantastic option, and someone that is so underrated. And the same for Captain Marvel. I wish I had my 5-star Captain Marvel awakened, but sadly I do not. I've been holding on to this Captain Marvel for, gosh, a year and a half, and the chances of duplicating her now are very slim given how many champs are in the 5-star crystal. But Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, if you get one of these 2 champs especially awakened and you're starting out, you will not regret bringing them into Alliance Quest, especially on like a poison path. All right, so as we scroll down, I wanted to point out another champion, and I think I'll skip classes because this champion is another severely underrated champion. This was the least popular Mystic champion, according to the last poll that was done late in 2017. She was the least appreciated Mystic champion, and yet I think she's one of the best. Who is it? It's Miss Thor Jane Foster. Now, if you learn to appreciate all that Thor Jane Foster has to offer, you will all of a sudden have great shock and stun ability, even unawakened. But most importantly, Thor Jane Foster is a champion that eventually, if you master her well, you can use when you get up to the Sentinels in the maps in Alliance Quest. She is one of the top options because of the shock damage and the stun ability against any Sentinel. And, overall, I don't get why she's so underappreciated. Maybe it's just because she was only in one Thor movie and people wanted to see her more. But regardless, Thor Jane Foster is a champion that I would be fairly excited about if I was starting out in the game and opened. So if you get her, even if you look at some tier lists and you see maybe some people think she's garbage or something, don't buy fully into that, because personally I think Thor Jane Foster is fantastic. Now, when we're going to the mutant class, you'll hear a lot about Archangel and Iceman and Rogue and Wolverine and X-23. All of them are great. But the 2 champs that I want to highlight from the mutant class that I think are highly underrated, Gambit. And there's some people who are like, Gambit, what? He sucks. Well, hey, his stun special 1 got me through so many fights early on when I was playing the game. And when I got my Gambit, I had quite a few rank 4 stars, but Gambit was my favorite X-Men growing up. So I boosted him up. I think I might have even used an Awakening Gem for him because his PI is also through the roof. And I was not let down, because when you master the special 1, you can actually spam it quite a bit. Now, he's not the best stun option, although I still think, again, if you get him, you should be thankful. The best stun option, and someone that's also not God tier, but I actually am blessed enough to have as a 5-star rank 3, is this guy, Ronin. Now, Ronin is a champion that once you have awakened especially, depending on the nodes, you can absolutely leave the enemy stunned for quite some time and then continue to refresh your special 1. This is also where the mastery tree really comes into play in the utility, because the longer you can stun your opponent, the better people like Ronin and Gambit are. These are not the God tier champs, but when you're starting out, you might just have a Ronin, and he might be the best champion you've got, and I don't want you to get that and be frustrated, because there are certainly ways to play him that will make him a top option for you in Alliance Quest. Now, I'm going to touch on the science class now, because believe it or not, another highly underrated champ, and for some reason, the last 5 or 6 people who've messaged me online have said, is Yellow Jacket any good? Yellow Jacket is my first 5-star, and I do think it's fascinating. I can do another entire video about how, despite there being over 100 champs, for whatever reason, the RNG of the basic 5-star crystal still is giving people the original champs like it did before the pool was expanded to past something like 24. Yellow Jacket is one of my favorite champions, and I've opened him 5 times in a 5-star crystal. Now, Yellow Jacket is not terrible unawakened, but awakened, you basically make the opponent have to choose between either losing a lot of health with your power sting, or if they don't use a special, they're going to be stunned and you're going to be able to get a easy guaranteed combo on them. So Yellow Jacket is another champion in Alliance Quest that I think can be highly useful, and someone that just doesn't get as much love as they should get. And we have another Ant-Man movie coming up, as we know, so maybe Yellow Jacket will finally get some praise. I also am going to point out that Fiona Shrek herself, highly underrated. She-Hulk, if you can learn to parry and then do a heavy attack, causes more damage than at first I was willing to admit. She also has a fairly reliable stun, and she's poison immune. So if you drew the bad straw and you have to go to a poison path in Alliance Quest, you only have a certain amount of champions in your roster, and She-Hulk, say, is your best poison immune champion, you can still wreck some people with She-Hulk. So I could go on, and maybe I'll do a volume 2 of this, but I think this is about the length of the video that I wanted to make to cover as many champs as possible, as efficiently as possible. I welcome you to the MCOC community if you're watching this video and you maybe are just starting out. Being an alliance is a great way to get resources and make friends and enjoy the game more, but it can also be really stressful if you're in a terrible alliance, and I've made videos in the past about just how important it is to leave an unhealthy alliance. But I'm just going to assume, because I'm an optimist, that if you're in an alliance right now, you're in a good alliance, and you're going to do your best to contribute to both Alliance Quest and Alliance War. So there's some non-God tier options for you in the Alliance Quest effort to get as many resources as possible without, of course, using units as much as possible. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have suggestions that I did not cover, please comment below and let me know. I am also looking forward to doing a video in the next week about how I think Abomination, yes, this champion you are staring at right now, could easily be demigod if they just tweaked a couple of things. So I'm going to encourage Kabam to do Abomination some justice as well, so he's not a literal abomination in the game. Thanks for watching, YouTube.